Anyway, I just, I had to talk about some of this because it's where my head's at because I'm working on this film 24/7 and it's a lot. And I haven't even scratched the surface, man. If you think what I've talked about here is not even, it's not anything compared to what's going to be in this movie. I'm just showing you some of the peripheral stuff because, again, I don't know how much of all, I'm sure not all of this is going to be able to make it into the movie. But there is so much, and it's difficult for me not to get up here and talk about it sometimes, or at least some of it. I'm not going to get into any spoiler type shit, but because that's where my head's at and this is what I'm working on the most, it's undoubtedly going to be where my focus is. I want to tell you about, we only got 2 days left on this. I've been busy and I haven't done another show since we put this up about a week ago. I talked recently on recent shows about getting the Shoutcast streaming shows and stuff again, and a new Saturday show. I've kind of changed some of the stuff around from my original idea for the Saturday show just a little bit. We're not going to be doing the stuff where, people sponsor a show or stuff, but you will be able to. I actually had a listener who actually had a good suggestion on this because he had heard some other show kind of doing a similar thing, and so I kind of changed my idea for this based on the advice that a listener gave me, and I got to tell you that's really rare. Really, because 99.8% of all the suggestions I get from the audience, most part, are absolute garbage. It's just from people who, and it's never from people who actually support my work and make contributions and donate. They're never the people that try to give me advice on how to do things. It's people who never contribute anything, who've never done anything, that think they know how to do something they've never done before. I just think that's hilarious that people become experts on something they've never done. I mean, I've never flown a plane. Right, so I wouldn't pretend to be an expert pilot and know everything about that it entails to be a pilot, but somehow people, who've never done what I do think they know everything about how to do it. It's insane. I can't give away the title of the show yet, and I can't tell you what the title of the show is yet or any of that, because I can't do that until we get the money up. But that's my point. We have a fundraiser going on. It ends Friday. Our goal is only $800. That's what we need to get everything we need to get this thing launched and up off the ground for the new Saturday show and the return of the Shoutcast stream, where we'll have archive shows playing around the block and then around the clock, and then we'll have the show live on Saturday nights. It's going to be a topic-driven show, exclusively topics, no news, anything else like that. And you will have an opportunity to be able to get involved. And we're going to be, apparently from what a listener told me, there's a show that I guess they started doing like movie reviews or something for like $100, and then moved it up to like $200 or something. So we'll do something, if it's a topic for the show that would take up a whole show that you want to hear me discuss, it will be like a $200 contribution. If it's a topic that I can talk about relatively quickly and maybe not do a whole show on, but maybe do 15, 20 minutes on and be able to cram in multiple ones in per show, then we'll do those for $100. Once I tell you the name of the show and tell you what the premises and all this, it'll make more sense to you why we're doing it that way. Because I really want it to be interactive, and I want people to be able to get something out of it, and us also be able to have a show where we don't have to fundraise or promote, and it'll also help, fund our other work as well. Where basically, you pay to have, say, you want me to review a certain movie. I'm a music and movie fanatic. So I have lots to say about any of that stuff. So we'll do that, You contribute $100 and say, hey, review this movie. I'll review it and go off and give you every thing I have to say about it. Stuff like that. And then topics, we'll do that. But we have this fundraiser going on. It ends Friday. Our goal is $800. There's lots of crazy perks there. Everybody who contributes $100 is going to get their name on the Founding Fathers list. You can also choose a fake name if you don't want a real name. But it's going to be our Founding Fathers list, and Founding Sisters, whatever, Founding Mothers. I mean it to be all inclusive, even though I'm not using one of these politically correct, all inclusive, asexual terms. You get the gist. Basically, all the people who contribute $100, if we reach our $800 goal, those people will be on the Founding Fathers list. On the first show, you will get your name or a name of your choice read out on the show and thanked and ridiculed. No, not ridiculed, but you know what I mean. And you'll also, for a $100 contribution, you'll also have a chance to pick the topic of the very first show that we do. If you come in at the $800 level and just say, fuck it, I want to see this happen, I got $800, we have a package for that. You'll pick the first show topic upon approval from me, of course. If you pick something and I go, I'm not going to fucking talk about that, you have to pick something else. I reserve the right to do that, just saying. So you'll get to pick the first show topic upon approval from Josh, in parentheses. 30-minute Skype audio call one-on-one with me, and a special gift from me personally as well that I'll send you. So, make your contributions. Help us. As soon as we get this, it's not a lot. We just need enough to get, I got to get a new domain. I'm going to have a separate website for it. Domain, shoutcast stream, software, all this stuff to get it back up and going and running again. Once we reach this goal, if we reach this goal by Friday, I'll be able to have this up and running within a couple of days, and we'll be able to do the first show the following Saturday, next Saturday. So this will happen quick, and it'll happen as quickly as we get the funding in that we need to do it. It's just like I said before when I first came with this idea, it's time to start taking it to the next level, take it to another level, and I really want to start giving some of these fucking shows, especially these shows like Coast to Coast AM where they put these god-awful weekend hosts on. I want to start giving these clowns a run for their money and start taking their listeners away from them and start having something that can be, enjoyable for everybody to listen to, and something that's driven by the listeners and topics that people want to hear about and want to hear me bring my expertise and my 25 plus years of research to the table on. And also, stuff like, hey, here's $100, review this album by this band or this movie by this person or whatever, and it'll be fun. Cause I'm not always going to like what you're going to fucking have me review, and that'll be the great part of it. And then it'll also be great if you give me something that I do like and am into, because I'll be really passionate about it. So it's going to be fun. Even if it's something that I'm not into, it's going to be fucking hilarious, because me, I'm going to fucking tear it to shreds and just go off on it. And then on the other flip side of that, if it's something that I enjoy and something I feel passionate about, then that'll be really great too, because it'll give me a lot to work with. So it's going to be good, but we need your help to get it launched, and just want, I really want it to be something that everybody can be a part of, and try to make some of this stuff fun. Let's make learning fun, that old fucking thing. But you really got to have fun with some of this stuff, otherwise you will drive yourself absolutely batshit crazy insane. And I got to tell you, as much as I love this information and love these topics, there ain't nothing worse in the world than somebody armed with this type of information that just takes themselves and the whole thing way too seriously. I can't even talk to those people. I don't know why, and it's natural. I mean, I get it. I kind of fell into that for a very short time, maybe 6 months or so. But you gotta, life goes on, and you gotta still live, and everything goes. You can't let this stuff just make you a fucking uptight, no fun, nervous wreck all the time. There's no way to live. All right, let's get into some news here. Also, our goal for the week is $200 for the operating costs, but really the main thing is, forget about that. The main thing is all we need is $800 to get this new show on the Shoutcast stream back up and running again. We get that by Friday. We'll have the sucker going. We'll have a new show within a week. That's all I really want to say on that. So put all available funds you can towards helping us reach that goal for this. All right. That's all I got to say about it. I'm going to move on to get into some news here. Holograms projected onto the brain could help replace lost senses. And also could probably help create false realities. You know, that's the thing about any of these technologies. And I mean, they always sell it to us for the upside of it. No one ever talks about the downside of any of this stuff. I don't know, man. Just the idea that we're talking about projecting holograms onto the brain. I mean, you can't sit there. No rational person could sit there for a second and just think to themselves, wow, that's great. This can only have positive applications. You know what I mean? I mean, beaming holograms into your brain, I'm sorry. You can't sit here and just act like there isn't the possibility for this to be used for nefarious purposes. A device that could one day allow the blind to see or the paralyzed to feel touch by projecting holograms onto the brain cells being developed by scientists. See, that's how they sell it to you. By using light as a tool to alter brain function, it might be possible to mimic real sensations and perceptions, they have suggested. Named the holographic brain modulator, the device is still in its very early stages, but in a new paper published in the journal Nature Neurosciences, the researchers outlined some promising early results. This is one of the first steps in a long road to develop a technology that could be a virtual brain implant with additional senses or enhanced senses, said Dr. Alan Mardenley, a neuroscientist at the University of California, Berkeley, who participated in the work. The device makes use of a technique known as optogenetics, which involves the use of light to control living cells. Yeah, I mean, I don't really have much else to say on that, but I mean, you see what I mean here. Always sell these, I don't know, projecting holograms onto the brain. I mean, it's not out of line to see where this could be used for bad purposes. Again, that's all they always try to sell us on this stuff. It's always to, imagine what we could do to help the blind and help this and that and the other. Yeah, I'm sure that's what these guys are pumping millions and billions of dollars into these things for. They're really worried about helping people. Yeah, we have a real good track record of that in this world, don't we? More ramping up of the staged alien invasion stuff. You guys ever seen this show Colony? I've watched it for the past couple of seasons. I guess it's been on two seasons, and the third season just aired its first episode last week. It's kind of a frustrating show to watch because, I mean, this is the beginning of the third season, and honest to God, they've never really given you, they don't really ever give you much information on these extraterrestrials. But, and I don't want to give any spoilers here, but I've been saying since the very beginning, I thought this had something to do with reptilians. These guys were going to end up being reptilians, like V or something. And in the first episode of the third season, which aired last week, I may or may not have been proven wrong about that. So, anyway, as I've stated, they are continuing to ramp up the stage alien invasion scenario stuff, continuing to test the waters and try to acclimate people, because they spent 50 plus years telling us extraterrestrials aren't real. You're a kook and a crazy and a nut if you think UFOs are real and extraterrestrials exist. And over the past 10 years, they've reversed that strategy, and now they're trying to slowly sort of, ease people into the idea. Well, maybe people that think aliens exist aren't so crazy after all. Space.com. How would humanity react if we really found aliens? Well, that question has been at the forefront of the military, the government, and high-level people in the world power structure since 1947. And that has been one of their biggest fears and their biggest worries. They're not worried about how the people really so much will act. Excuse me. They're not really worried about so much how the people are going to react to this. They're worried about how it's going to affect their power structure and their supremacy. Because their biggest fear is that people find out aliens are real and they go, what the fuck am I listening to these guys for? What the fuck am I listening to? Why do I care what Donald Trump has to say? Why do I care what, the Trudeau in Canada? What the fuck do I care what that guy has to say? The fuck do I care about, Prince Harry or fucking any of these other clowns or the Queen? We had advanced aliens here. These guys are probably running the show. They're probably more, more qualified than these clowns running our planet now, right? But the answer to that question has shifted quite a bit from what I think it's how the world reacts to the phony rolled out disclosure now compared to how they would have reacted to it had people just found out about it and the word gotten out back in 1947. You're talking about two completely different answers. Absolutely, I think that they were justified in believing that if people would have found out about extraterrestrials in 1947, people would have lost their shit. I don't think that they were wrong in that belief. But now it's not going to really change. It's not going to really change things that much. Other than really changing the whole world religious thing. I mean, that's, again, as I've talked about many times. People talk for years about New World Order this and global this and everything else and one world government and blah, blah, blah. But the mechanisms of getting it there, somebody asked me the other day to talk more about what I was talking about on a recent show about the homogenization of people. And I mean, I don't know what else you want me to say. You can see the evidence of it yourself if you just look around. But that's the whole reason. I mean, they want everybody in the world to have the same beliefs. They want to do away with questions. They eventually want to have a standard explanation or standard narrative. That's why they've been given so much stuff. Well, for years they wouldn't talk about this stuff. You were kooking a crazy if you talked about it. I can't overstate it enough, even though I've talked about it a million times on this show. I remember in the 90s, you were certifiably insane if you believed in something called the Bilderberg Group. And I'll never forget walking into the gas station and seeing that newspaper, Dallas Morning News, sitting there that says Governor Perry attends secretive Bilderberg Group meeting, and I just flipped because barely even 10 years before that had you even made an insinuation about that. I remember, folks, I was there. I was into this stuff back then. It was a totally different world even 10, 15 years ago as far as how people perceive and view these topics. I'm telling you, 10 years ago, you were a nut job and you were a whack job if you were talking about Anunnaki stuff. Now it's just open. They talk about it on Ancient Aliens on the History Channel. When I first started talking about it, it made people very uncomfortable. No one wanted to go there, and people got mad when you did. Okay? So people's perception of this stuff has changed, but why has it changed? It's changed because people have been manipulated for it to change, just as they've been manipulated for their ideas to view and change on race and sexual orientation, everything else. These have not been ideologies and things that people have taken on their own because they believe it's right. It's things they've been programmed to take on to cause more divide and conquer and to divide the people into more factions and groups so that we're all fighting against each other, not paying attention to what they're doing. By the time everybody figures out and stops bickering among themselves, they've fucking moved on to another plan and they're ahead of us yet again. And that's what they want. They want to keep us divided against each other so we're never united against them. That's the fucking goal, man. If aliens reach out to us, what would happen first? It's a question that has puzzled science fiction fans and scientists alike for decades, and we already may have a hint at how people will react. On October 30th, 1938, a dramatized version of the 1898 H.G. Wells novel The War of the Worlds played on the CBS radio system across the United States. The story details how Martians attacked Earth. The radio broadcast caused a reaction when people mistook it for a real radio report, but accounts vary as to how much of a reaction there was. Some accounts describe nationwide panic, while others say not very many people actually listened to the broadcast. The promise of alien life stars in episode 1 of AMC's Visionaries James Cameron's story of science fiction, which debuts on AMC. Still search for extraterrestrial intelligence, SETI researcher Duncan Forgan told Space.com the War of the Worlds broadcast may be instructive to think about how SETI scientists worldwide update their first contact protocols. If you pick up the right science fiction, the hard science fiction, it's placed in the best possible educated guesses about what will happen. He explained that hard science fiction refers to science fiction that emphasizes accuracy. If researchers find a signal today, Forgan said one of the things that we'll have to manage is a public used to getting constant news updates on Twitter and other forms of social media. It's something Forgan and his colleagues are already working. What? This doesn't even make any sense. What does that have to do with how people will react? So they have a protocol. This is interesting. Okay. So they call it a post-detection protocol created by SETI in 1989. It was slightly updated in 2010. A new update is starting soon and should be finished in a few years. So they actually have a protocol. If they find a signal from space that's from alien life forms, they know definitively, they have a predetermined, pre-programmed, again, what they call a post-detection protocol in place of what to say to the public as soon as they find something. See how scripted all of this is? This is ripe for the pickings for a controlled, phony disclosure, staged alien invasion scenario, and that's exactly what they're trying to do here and exactly why they are trying to not only convince people it's possible, but also get people to be calm about it. Because people are going to freak. It's going to be just like 9/11. People are going to freak out. And then they'll be able to get away with doing whatever they want to do. And that's the real plan.